What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with the one and done preview for the Masters. I apologize. The last couple weeks, I haven't been able to make a one and done video. You probably saw I was traveling a lot. Life kind of got in the way, but I did not want to miss out on the Masters, so I wanted to put a video together. For those of you who forget or might not have been following this, we're going to talk about my specific one and done pool, which is a $50 entry. I have 3 entries, which is the maximum, and there's kind of different rules to it, which we'll go over. But let's hop right into this, and I'll just give you an update on where we stand. So here are the 3 lineups that I have. We'll start with the best one. We'll start with number 3 over here on the right-hand side. In the last couple weeks, we went with Adam Scott at the Arnold Palmer. We went with Patrick Reed at the Match Play. And we went with Charles Howell last week at the Houston Open. 1.4 million in earnings on the year. This is still our best lineup. Not particularly great, but also not anything to be too concerned about. There's still a lot of segments left, and there's a lot of ways to win. Lineup number 2 has actually picked up recently. So since the start of the second segment, this is by far our best lineup. Adam Hadwin gets us 6 figures at the Valspar. Tiger Woods gets us over 300,000. Patrick Reed again, 163 grand. And then Charles Howell netting us 88,000. So that's a very strong segment 2 lineup that we have here, which I'll show you where I stand compared to the rest of the field. But I'm happy with this one. And then the one that we have done everything wrong with is the first lineup. We've made a lot of bad picks. We've probably made a lot of unlucky picks. We've loaded up on segment 2 and I've basically whiffed everything, right? Like Ricky Fowler last week implodes on the weekend after being like 1 shot off the lead or tied for the lead after 2 rounds, which was a big opportunity for us to kind of make a dent in segment 2. We did not do it. So let me show you where we stand here. So the overall standings, let me see if I can get this real quick. Hold on. The overall standings, we have our best lineup in 1,000th. Remember, there's about 1,700 or 1,800 people in this, so we're talking about pretty middle of the road. Same with lineup number 2, bottom half of it. And then our first lineup is literally almost in last place, 1,655th, really brutal. So what are we going to do for this week? Well, if you remember the ways you can win season long, you can win one of the segments, or you can win the Masters or the 5 majors, right? Because it's the Masters, the Players, the US Open, the Open Championship, and the PGA is what this pool counts. So with that being said, lineup number 2, I'll show you where they stand for the segments. Lineup number 2 here is in 430th for segment 2. So that's what, the top 25-ish%. So that's still very much in play for segment 2. With that being said, even for the lineup that's not in play for segment 2 or not in play for season long, which is probably this first lineup, since this is the first major, we have a clean slate to try to go out and win the majors section of this. So we're going to have to load up on studs, is essentially what we're going to do here. We're going to take a stud in every single lineup. We're going to choose 3 different studs. And we'll talk about my thought process on which guys we're actually going to choose. But let's look at the tools that I create. These are available on DFS On Demand. This is my one and done tool. I don't need to show you this, but just so you have it here, outside of the US Open, this is the largest prize pool that these guys are going to play for this year. It's the smallest field probably of any of these events. Maybe some of the WGCs are less, but I think there's only 83 guys in the field. It's the smallest Masters field in a long time. So getting a win here is going to go a long way. So we're going to go for a top guy. Now, who is that going to be? Obviously, there are a handful of studs here. Jordan Spieth's record is impeccable. DJ is the odds-on favorite. Sergio's your defending champion. Bubba Watson is rounding into form. I think those are all good options. Let me show you the cheat sheet here. So this is kind of DFS oriented, but I want to kind of, there are a couple things I think that are worth pointing out. So there's 4 guys who are 10 to 1 to win this thing. DJ, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, and Rory McIlroy. They're all 10 to 1. Tiger Woods is 12 to 1, but that's probably a little bit of an inflated number. We've talked about this before. Tiger Woods' odds are very, very rarely true odds because he's such a public player. I imagine Tiger is going to be incredibly heavily owned in this one and done pool and incredibly heavily owned in DFS. I hope he wins it, but I'm going to be fading him. But it would be really killer if he went and won it. I might just place a little bet on him so that I have a share just in case he goes out and wins this thing. Outside of those guys, there are a few contrarian options, I believe. Guys that are going to go under the radar. Jon Rahm is one of them. He's 18 to 1. Excellent player. He is not, this is not his first time here. So there's this record around Augusta where first timers really struggle. It's a course you need to have really intimate knowledge of. Jon Rahm kind of destroyed that narrative at every course last year. He won at Torrey Pines the first time he ever played it. Destroyed courses the first time he ever played them. Very respectable 27th place last year. Now he gets back there. Already a win on his record this year at the Career Builder Challenge. He's going to be a guy who is, I think he's going to be pretty overlooked. Bubba will be popular, and he should be. If I wasn't going to go with a stud, if I was going to kind of go with a next level guy, Bubba would be there. Hideki Matsuyama, 3 really great finishes in a row here. Just returned from a wrist injury. Health seems to be fine. I suspect he's going to start putting it all together. He hasn't played a lot, which is going to keep him off of a lot of radars. So Hideki Matsuyama is probably going to fly under the radar. If you really want to go lower than that, if you really want to go completely off the grid, or not completely off the grid, but get someone and have him at like 1 or 2% owned, Louis Oosthuizen, okay, always a great Masters record. Let's see, Charles Schwartzel. I'm probably gonna bet Charles. A 3rd place last year. He's donned the green jacket before. I will probably bet him. So I don't like him in a one and done situation for myself this week. But if you're looking for someone a really against the grain, you're willing to go that low, I think he's a good option. All right, so who are we going to go with and why? Let me show you who we're going to go with here. And lineup number 2, I want to go with my absolute best guy because it's it's $170,000 off of our best lineup for season long. It's our best segment 2, and if we hit it, we are going to look great for segment 2, and we're going to look great for the 5 majors. I'm taking DJ. Okay, I'm taking Dustin Johnson. He is the odds-on favorite to win this, or one of the favorites. 2 top 6 finishes in a row here. Best player on the planet, in my opinion, at the moment, or I guess in the world rankings. We missed out on him last year. I'm taking him to win this. Another reason I'm doing that is because if we go to the pool that I'm in, he has already been used 38% of the time. 38% of the field cannot use DJ. So, and he is the highest of really all of these studs. Oh, Rahm is up there at 50% too. So if you've not used Rahm yet, you're really going to get him at a low ownership this week. DJ is the 4th most used golfer in this pool, which means I think I'm going to get the odds-on favorite at a pretty, all things considered, pretty low. A lot of guys are going to have to go with Spieth. They're going to have to go with JT. They're going to have to go with Rory, whatever it is. So he's my overall number 1 here. I'm burning him, and I hope he goes out and wins it. Secondly, in my next best lineup, I'm going to go with Rory. Okay, so Rory McIlroy again. We've not used him in this lineup yet. He is also 10-1 to win this. Real quick side note, we have been a week early on everyone this week. Maybe I should just play Charles Howe or Paul Casey or Ricky Fowler to win this thing. We've been a week early on everyone this year. We were a week early over here on Rory at the Valspar. He went out and he won the Arnold Palmer. We were a week early on one of Phil Mickelson's wins. We were a week early on somebody. Or no, we had Bubba placed in, I think, this WGC Mexico lineup, and I punted him out of there, and he went on and top 10'd it. Like, we've made a lot of just very close but still incorrect decisions this year. All right, so we're going to take Rory over here. He's coming off the win just a few weeks ago at the Arnold Palmer. Here he is. 4 straight top 10s here. I don't need to tell you Rory's the man. I can only play him in, I can't play him in this first lineup here because we've already used him. So for that lineup, I am going to go with Jordan Spieth. So interested to see Spieth's lineup or ownership this week because, going into last week, he's kind of been off his game, right? The narrative was he can't putt anymore, he stinks, whatever. Really flashed it last week with a 3rd place, and his record here is stellar. So Spieth is going to get burned. And then just to show you how much those guys have been used, Rory's only been used 10%, so I do expect him to be pretty popular this week. And then Jordan Spieth, has already been burned in 25% of lineups. So I still expect a lot of guys to be on him, but 25% of the field can't use him. I wonder how many have already used Spieth and DJ. That'd be interesting. You have to go with somebody else. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 3 of our studs, try to get a really good head start on the major side of this, and we have we have at least one lineup that can sniff the segment, and we're just going to diversify with 3 different studs and see what happens. Let me know where you guys stand in your pool. We're basically like a third of the way through. We're going to gear up into the meaty part of the season here. So let me know where you guys stand and who you're rostering this week. All right, talk to you soon. Good luck.